Hi guys, it's Nicole, and today I've got a double page scrapbook process. It is the first of the month, so this is a hop that I'm hosting where all of the participants are playing along with the new Creating with Sketches bundle. I say new in the sense that this was an older class from Scrapbook Generation and Allison Davis that they revamped, I want to say a year or two ago. And it's basically like a really good sketch bundle for kind of learning how to modify sketches. I definitely think that I'm at the point where I don't necessarily need this type of a class, but I love these type of sketches. So that was kind of why I decided to use this bundle for a hop. And then because of the basis of learning how to like modify and use variations, allows all of us to kind of come up with vastly different layouts. Now, I will say I was very confused when I started my layout because I made a note of which variation I was going to be using, and I'm using option 19. And for August, we're playing along with the 2-page number 3 sketch. It took me a couple minutes to figure out that basically I had pulled the wrong photos. Fun fact, I actually prepped the last 5 layouts of this back in November, thinking that it was the first 5 layouts we were going to run through. So I got my order mixed up, kind of messed up the whole schedule. So I'm working with stuff that I planned and prepped, and I say that very loosely, back in November. So I got myself confused, realized I didn't really give myself very detailed notes. So now I kind of know in the future not to just kind of scribble like one word, thinking that future me 6-7 months down the line in this case would understand what past me meant, because I did not. So with the option that I chose, again, I picked 19 if you're following along. It kind of eliminated almost like the major design element from this sketch and instead duplicated the like wall of photos on both sides. I tend to, when I pick an event or I pick photos that I think are going to work for a sketch, a lot of times I just kind of quickly scan the different variations and options and see if there's something that I feel like lends to the orientation of my photos or the style of my photos a little bit better. And in this case, this was the one. Now, I will say I don't typically gut my papers. I don't like fiddling with it. A lot of times I'm like, it's fine, I'll just pull out some paper. I'm not sure where my brain was today. Couple things I could have done to avoid this. When I printed my photos, I could have just printed them as a photo collage. For some reason, when I'm prepping sketches and photos, I don't think about dropping them into like a letter size print and just keeping them together in one piece. That would be a way smarter approach instead of fiddling with a bunch of different photos and making them line up and trimming them correctly. So I've kind of run into this enough times, and I'm hoping that it's now kind of like glued to the wall of my brain to not do this again. But basically, I didn't want to use 4 full sheets of like my good textured cardstock to mat my photos and stuff. So I realized that the style of the sketch was leaning towards kind of that wallpapering with pattern papers, and so I figured out I could put my photos in the center, gut it, and then cover it up with sort of those wallpaper pieces, and then bring the photos back in. I did cut out doing this exact same thing on the left-hand page. I didn't feel like we all needed to watch me kind of struggle through this twice, so I cut that out. My papers are super old. These are Lawn Fawn, I think, Christmas papers. These were actually from like a big paper de-stash that I purchased off somebody years ago, where it was a bunch of Bella Boulevard and Lawn Fawn stuff. And what I love about it is there's like 3 or 4 sheets of a lot of B-sides like this where I can do like a big wallpapering. So while I'm using a Doodlebug collection for the embellishments and stickers and stuff, I just used whatever pattern papers I had that were full-size sheets that I had more than one of. This, I believe, is Christmas Magic. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really pay attention to like the names of stuff. I just buy it, and then 2 years later I pull it out and finally use it. I do keep things like Halloween and Christmas in these storage boxes. So I just kind of have one for all the paper and then one for a bunch of embellishments, because to me, I like kind of mixing and matching, or in this case, I stuck to just the Doodlebug embellishments. I hadn't used this before, or I think I'd cut into it and used just a couple on a previous layout, but I still have a ton of it. And when I have a ton of it, it's kind of hard to narrow it down. So I just dump the die cuts into the lid for my storage box, and I do like a quick pull through, and you can see all the stuff that I'm shoving in the corner of the box is just stuff that to me is not on theme for Christmas morning in my mind, and is also just really big. Like, I really only just kind of have two corners by the edge of my layout to embellish, so I'm just kind of looking for things that I feel like tuck and kind of hug a corner well, and also go with my theme. So I found the little boy and the little girl that were sitting in the present, so to me that's like perfect for Christmas morning type thing. And then I just go through and sort of kind of almost like a little mini scene. I think the sketch had more of like something in the upper left, something down like center, and then upper right. But I said this before, I will follow a sketch to a certain point and then I kind of veer off and start doing my own thing. So most of my stuff is going to kind of be on the bottom. Excuse me. Now, you guys know I've been making dickers left and right. Today, I was just very leaning into the quick process of ready-made embellishments, and this is something that I used to do years ago. Is if you take off the backer for your foam strips, or even like if you have like the big giant foam roll, if you cut off pieces of that and then take off the backer strip, it makes it to where you can kind of curve it along shapes a little bit easier. So I took the foam strips from scrapbook.com, which I recently, like I link them all the time and I send you guys links all the time. They recently changed up to where now there's 3 sizes: 1mm, 2mm, and 3mm. I wasn't sure what size the original ones were, so I bought the assortment pack of the 1, 2, and 3 sizes. I think the originals are 2mm. However, I'm really liking the 1mm. It's like just enough dimension to where it still feels like flat and secure to your page while also being dimensional. So I used the 1mm on everything that I popped up on this layout, and I really, really like it. I don't know if I'll ever use the 3mm, but they live here. If I think about it, I'll try to post a picture in my Facebook group, like comparing the ones that I've bought forever to the ones that came in the like assortment pack, so you can kind of see the difference in thickness. And then, because I think when you look at it on the store, it's kind of hard to gauge like what you think you're gonna want. So typically I link to the assortment pack, or I link to the page that just kind of has all of them. And then it's kind of like you do you, you're on your own at that point. But I will say, after seeing all 3 of them together, I love the 1mm. From there, I just kind of start filling in with a little hearts that were on the, I bought too much stuff for this collection, that's the problem, but I found some little heart stickers so I didn't have to make my own, and then just kind of filled everything in. My journaling is going to end up being like a block of journaling instead of strips, and I just made sure to size it like this is almost like a 4x4 section. So I tried to make sure that my journaling was towards the top of it, and also made like I didn't change the justification of it. I just kind of tried to keep an eye out of where I had planned placing the boy in the box and like the presents and stuff. So I always do a test print on just regular copy paper to make sure it's going to fit. The first time I printed it, it was way too big, even measuring it in my software. So I always do like a test print before I run like good cardstock through it. I say good cardstock, but the majority of the time when you see journaling from me like this, It's the like pen and gear from Walmart. Super cheap, works great. Have a ton of it, use it all the time. So I just kind of, like I said, my die cuts are just like barely creeping up into my journaling. And you guys, I don't know what the deal is right now, but every time I post a video, somebody points out a typo in my journaling, which I do appreciate because I have to go back and fix it. So I'm praying that there's not a typo in this one. A lot of times I just get to creating and like I'm so close to the finish point and so close to taking pictures of the layout and getting to like the video and getting to the point of sharing that I don't sort of like stop and double check. So because I've made enough mistakes in the last couple weeks with typos and stuff like that, again, that's kind of writing itself on the wall of my brain to double check, but this was in that phase where I'm not aware of it. So if there is a typo, let's just pretend like there's not, and I'll be happy. If you send me a message, I'll probably end up fixing it and tell you thank you. So with that, my layout is done. I've got some detail shots for you guys here. And as a reminder, this is part of a hop. There's links down below for all the videos participating this month. And if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe and get notified when I post in the future. Thanks for stopping by.